Let's continue our New Year's Day preparations. The Christmas tree has been woven. As always, I feel like experimenting with new Christmas tree decorations. My experiments have resulted in such a Christmas star. It has been made using the technique we've mastered this year, Ethno style draping. As usual, I've experimented a lot with different kind of tubes. As you see, thick tubes result in clumsy stars. Well, though such a large star has the right to exist too, to decorate a big school Christmas tree, for example. But most of all, I like the result of working with very thin tubes. It makes the star look as if woven of beads. Besides, I like such multicolored experiments. You can play with colors. If you don't know yet how to do, you will see later. Combine dark and lighter tubes, for example. Different options are possible, or you can just make a single-colored golden or silver star, for example. I make the thinnest tubes of this paper. I've used it for making various flowers, so I've already mentioned it. This kind of paper allows making stars like these. However, these stars have been made of normal newspaper. I mean, thin paper is perfect if you've got some, but if you have no, you can work with any paper available. These tubes are rather hollow than tight. I found some of my old reserves. I've painted them adding some varnish and water. I'm sure all of you know the recipe of the so-called plasticine tubes already. I've tried working with different bases. A hot glue gun silicone stick is very good for this purpose. I roll a few layers of tube around a stick. The tubes are wet, so there are almost no pinches. If you don't moisten a tube, you won't be able to make smooth curves. Well, I believe it's enough. You define the required size for yourself depending on your tube diameter. So I've got a base. I've lengthened the tube for wrapping. I use a closing clip in my work. Now I take a thin tube, I've covered the end with glue, and fasten it. While wrapping, I don't apply any glue. Well, if you need, you can use it. I personally do without it. So I've made one coil. Continue in a normal wrapping technique. You can divide these sections into different number of coils. Let's try and make 4 coils. And lead the tube through the center of the ring. The next 4 coils. 1, 2. Lengthen and continue dividing the ring into sections consisting of 4 coils each. Continue weaving. It is what I've got. 4 short stitches followed by 1 long stitch hugging the whole star base. Perform the last 4 coils. 1, 2, 3, 4. After which I finish like I do in a normal wrapping technique. Prepare a gap under the last row. Lead the tail through it. Then pass on 2 short stitches again. Let me add a few words on a number of sections and a number of coils. You define the perfect number by trial and error, depending on your base size, tube thickness, and many other factors. That's why I don't tell you any definite numbers, but encourage you to experiment. There can be 7 or 8 sections. If there is some space left unfilled, you can either tighten or stretch the coils in order to get identical sections consisting of identical number of coils. So continue wrapping the basic tube, shaping the star beams. So I've performed 7 coils. The number of coils of the beams can vary too. Please notice that I've been directing the coils away from myself. Now I'm bending the beam and performing the next section directing the coils toward myself. I've discovered this technique by trial and error too. At first I used to perform all the coils in the same directions. However, it results in twisted beams. I've disliked the result and started thinking of how to cope with this issue. So I've tried performing the coils in the opposite directions. The beams appear smooth and straight, so I've decided to continue this way. So perform 7 coils in the opposite direction, lengthen the tube and continue. 7 coils have been made. I'm preparing a gap under the last row, lead the tube through it. Now, in order to direct the coils away from myself again, I lead the tube like this. Take a look once again, please. I lead the tube beneath the last row, lead it out, and place in front of the basic tube, in order to direct the following coils away from myself again. Perform 7 more coils this way. So make 7 coils, bend the tube, leaving a small loop. You can lead a piece of thread through it afterwards in order to hang a star onto a Christmas tree. And direct 7 coils toward yourself, creating another beam. And continue creating the rest of the star sections in the same very way. So the last beam has been woven. Let's finish as follows. Lead the basic tube here, behind the first beam to the wrong side, and lead it through the first coil. Be very careful. Tighten. I've got 7 coils. By the last coil you can repeat the first one in order to finish weaving as neat as possible. Cover the first coil with the last one. Here you can also lead the tube through the same coil, right here. Afterwards I'll drop some glue, cut the remainder, and the star is ready. In this case my star is 8-beamed, that one has 7 beams. I mean, you are free to define the number of sections for yourself, based on your own experience. May you have more and more new Christmas tree decorations year by year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!